What's up, everyone? Welcome to the World's Mayor Experience. I'm your host, Joshua T. Berglan, and this is a very unscripted broadcast. I literally just met this guy an hour ago. We met on social media, but we just had a meeting, and we were taking this walk, we were talking, and I was getting to know James, and I'm like, you want to do an interview? I don't have any questions planned. It's completely unscripted. And as I shared in yesterday's broadcast with Kennedy, which was kind of unprepared too, because he hadn't seen the questions, it's been a long time since I've been able to do a broadcast just off the cuff. Before I was hiding the tremors and I needed to read from a script, and with my head shaking the way it was, I couldn't keep a thought straight, so I had to read from a prompter to ask the questions, which is actually kind of annoying because I don't want to read from a teleprompter. I had no choice though. If I wanted to broadcast, I had to work around what was going on with me. Well, it's been a very long time since I've just talked from the heart, asked questions that popped in my head. Holy Spirit, help me. Help me. I'm going to need your help here. It's been a while. I'm out of shape doing this. But this is how I used to broadcast. Like back in the days when I did Gratitude Unfiltered or even a conversation with Joshua T. Berglan, those broadcasts were all from the heart, unscripted, which means whatever came out of my mouth came out of my mouth. And sometimes I thought about apologizing afterwards, but if I said it, I meant it, even if it's not perfect. So this is the first World's Mayor Experience, completely off the cuff. So strap in. So my man, James Okeke. Okeke.
Yes, sir.
Okeke. Jonesy, that's a fun name to say. So we met on TikTok. And for those of you that are here in Cameroon, you already know I'm not really allowed to meet with people. I'm not allowed to give out my phone number. I'm not allowed to do any of that. So it has to run through the proper channels, through Princess. Everyone has to get verified to make sure that they don't, they actually have my best interest at heart. He passed all the verification tests. So I'm really glad that I don't have to kind of be dismissive and go, you got to talk to Princess, got to talk to Princess. Now we can actually talk. And we had such an engaging conversation. And I'm really, really excited to learn more about you, have you tell the audience about you. I'm really I kind of lit up with excitement and the possibilities with what you were sharing with me and how we're going to collaborate together. But before we get into anything, time out. And one more thing, there is background noise. I'm not using professional equipment. I'm not using any of that, no microphones, but there's construction right here. There's going to be lizards flying in the back. There's going to be ducks coming in here, not ducks, chickens coming in here, and God knows what else. So this is out in the open. We're having fun with it. So, that's what all the noise is. So anyway, now back to you.
Sir.
Before we get into the questions in the interview, I'd love to know, what are you grateful for today and why?
Thank you, Sir Joshua, for this single opportunity given to me. I'm grateful for God for making this possible, seeing such a spectacular and so flamboyant guy and man built and reaped in a lot of glamour and experience.
You're gonna make me blush.
So I'm really, really grateful for that. So just by virtue of the fact that I actually had the opportunity to see Sir Joshua Berglan, it's already an optimum grace for me, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And he wasn't paid to say that either, I promise you. All right.
Not at all.
So here's what I want to start out with, because when I learned your background, I'm like, why in the world would he want to talk to me? And because, you're a genius. Like you're a literal genius. And then to find out that you've written and published 2 books too already, which, is an amazing foundation to launch anything. Starting with a book is amazing. But I've never had anyone with your actual expertise reach out and say, how can we work together? So can you share a little bit about your expertise and what you're passionate about, please?
Okay, thank you, Sir Joshua. First and foremost, I got entangled with Joshua on TikTok, and I was really mired and moved by his servitude to the youth of Cameroon, precisely in Bamenda municipality. However, I'm passionate about science and arts. I'm a scientist, and I am more specific with physics. And so I realized that sometime ago, like 5 years back, I realized that some students face a lot of difficulty in actually understanding physics. For those of us who have actually done high school studies, we realize that physics is really a challenging and Herculean discipline to actually catalyze and understand and even validate in the examinations, such as the GCE and baccalaureate. So I took upon myself a challenge a 3-year project, and I actually went through, catalyzed, analyzed the concepts, wrote a treatise about it. And the first publication was on mechanics. That was a very challenging discipline for the science students. And my first publication is entitled Mechanics Made Easy for Advanced Level Students. After that, I got some recommendations and oh God, Michael, how could you just write about just mechanics? Like, definitively. I said, okay, what could I do? I took just a singular part of or aspect in physics, that's mechanics. And that prompted me and propelled my valor and desire to actually go further to learn more and study more disciplines and concepts encapsulated in this discipline of physics. And so the next year, that's 2024, 31st March, I came up with another publication, which is entitled A Prolegomena to Advanced Level Physics. I had my inspiration from Immanuel Kant, the German idealist philosopher, who wrote his own metaphysics and coined it a prolegomena to any further metaphysics. Prolegomena is a Greek word from Greek origin, which originates from 2 Greek words. We have pro, which means before, and we have legen, which means word said. So prolegomena etymologically means things said beforehand. And so it actually builds up a foundation to any physics. Any student who actually faces any problem or any difficulty in advanced level physics and goes and peruses the Prolegomena to advanced level physics is sure of success at the end. That's just it. And I have a lot of recommendations and feedbacks from some few students who actually got the books or probably the publication and actually went through it and it helped them in their examinations. So that's that about my publication.
Okay. So, like I said, genius. Genius. How old are you?
I'm 27.
Oh my gosh. I don't even, oh man. What was I don't even want to talk about what I was doing when I was 27. I put that in a book. It's not good. Not pretty. Okay. One of the things that we talked about, I with your education, I can't imagine it was easy to obtain that level of education just because what I've experienced here in just a few weeks of being here, nothing's easy. Nothing is easy. And especially education, accessibility to education, accessibility to jobs. First of all, what inspired you to go down this path? But then I want you to talk, and you can talk as long as you want about this. Talk about the journey and the battles through trying to acquire the education and the resources to learn what you've learned, to become an expert, to be able to write 2 books. People don't understand. Yeah, you can use ChatGPT to write a book, but you can't write a good book with ChatGPT. You have to really know your stuff to be able to produce a good book, even if you utilize AI tools. It's not easy to do. You are truly an expert in this. So talk about that journey. But first of all, talk about the vision that what made you get into this, and then talk about the journey and like the struggle it was to be able to gain this level of education.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's pretty much a long enterprise to actually indulge in. Well, I will just bring it short. Okay, first and foremost, my role model is Albert Einstein, and he actually, in 1905, postulated special relativity, and in 1915, general relativity. Special relativity deals with the electrodynamics of moving bodies. General relativity deals with gravity. And for Einstein, you realize that he actually contradicts Isaac Newton. That's the 17th century, where he talks about gravity as that force that pulls everything to the center of the universe. But Einstein came up with his expertise and his intelligence and his work and postulates general relativity, what that is with gravity. Now, Einstein gives a different definition to gravity or gravity. And he says gravity is not just that force, but it is that curvature in space-time, and that is brought about the immersion of the sun onto the orbits, which propels or makes that orbital movement of planets around it. And so Albert Einstein is really my role model, and realize that, or notice per se, that my dissertation for philosophy, because I have a bachelor's degree in philosophy, cut to the fact that I went to the major seminary after philosophy 3, that's third year philosophy, we are actually supposed to write a dissertation. And during that time, maybe the priest actually thought, a seminarian writing, normally you should write about ethics, morality, and so on and so forth. But I brought about a different aspect of it. I actually went into science. I wanted to write about science, how it can actually be circumstantial with taking religious perspectives and scientific truths as well. We know that the God of science and faith is one. God is both the author of science and the author of faith. And so truth cannot contradict themselves. So the truth of science cannot contradict the truth of faith. And to prolong it a little while, you realize that in the book of Joshua, you realize that when the Israelites were fighting their enemies, Moses actually was towards evening, and Moses actually commanded the sun to stand still. And all through the centuries, the church and the whole world, because after the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 AD, you realize that the church and state were one. The bishops actually were governors. And so everything they said was held as truth value. And so with Galileo Galilei coming and with his discovery of the stellar universe and heavens, the telescope and so on, saying that, no, it is the earth that is not the center of the universe, contradicting biblical truth as to the earth is the center of the universe. Now, there's a reason. For instance, for the church to say that the earth is the center of the universe, it actually comes to play as to telling the whole world that man is the center. And so perhaps technology should not take the place of man. The Marxist theory actually alienate man. Man is alienated. But you realize that the church actually wanted to preserve that truth. But science says, no, it is a sun that is the center. That's a geocentrism. The sun is the center of the universe, not the earth. And so that's why Pope Urban VIII, who was the best friend of Galileo Galilei, actually had nothing but to persecute Galileo. And that's just another tone from the views of Einstein. Einstein brought his views contradicting Newton, because Newton postulated three laws. The first law of inertia, that states that an object remains at rest or moves to uniform velocity unless an external resultant force acts on it. The second law is momentum law, which says that the magnitude of the resultant force is directly proportional to the rate of change in linear momentum with time. And the last law is what we're actually experiencing now, is action-reaction force, that action-reaction force are equal but opposite in direction. And now he went further to talk about the universal law of gravitation that says that the gravitational force is directly proportional to the product of 2 point masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance separating them. And so those laws were actually classical. And that's why we call it classical mechanics. Me coming now with the mechanics for advanced level students was to bring forth this classical mechanics and juxtapose with Albert Einstein's ideology. And that's why Einstein's mechanics is known as or relate to as relativistic mechanics. And that's why Einstein brought one of the best formulae of science, that's in physics. And that's why he's termed the father of modern physics, which is the energy is directly proportional to the mass and the speed of light. So that's just that. So my inspiration is from Albert Einstein, and that's why my dissertation was coined The Cosmological Implications of the Theory of Relativity in Albert Einstein. Now, Einstein talks about special relativity, gravity. Now, I actually got stuck on gravity, trying to relate it to religion. And so since that gravity is that force that brings everything to the center of the universe, that brings everything in elliptical motion, I actually related that force to God, the harmony of contraries, which is God in the church. So that force for Albert Einstein is God that is responsible for motion. St. Thomas Aquinas will talk about his quinque viae, that's the 5 proofs of the existence of God. And one of the first proof, which is the most important, is from the motion of things. The winds blow, the west wind drift cause the currents of the sea to bring rainfall or gravity rainfall and the rest. Maybe there must be some movement in the world. And so if you reduce to the absurd, that's reductio ad absurdum, the Latin adage. If we go and we regress to the absurd, we realize that we will never ever see the infinite cause of things. And so, by convention, we relay that infinite cause of things, God, He is responsible for motion. So that was my prior desire and probably what propelled me to actually write about physics. And especially my book, because it deals with a lot of truths that have not been verified, though they have been verified scientifically, but verifiable in the sense that many people have not actually had that closure to it. People have not actually properly understood it. So I wrote firstly Mechanics Made Easy, and then I was actually um, approached by many other persons that, okay, can you do that for other topics in physics? Let's say thermodynamics, thermometry, and so on and so forth. And then I took a year to actually go on and realize that it's not any ChatGPT or anything. It was censored. If you check my work, it is handwritten. I have all the drafts. And one of the difficulties I faced was actually typing the formulae, the physical and mathematical formulae, the diagrams. If you check the diagrams in my book, they are more, how can I put it? Well, not to be proud, but actually they are actually not versed or not actually likened to that of Nelson and Packer. Nelson and Packer are very great physicists. They are not likened to that you see in any ordinary physics textbook or probably text. It's kind of more, how can I put it? Encompassing, more relating to the African person. If you say, okay, I want to calculate the engine force of a car that moves at constant acceleration and actually starts accelerating or climbing a hill and inclines, let's say 45 degrees to the horizontal, and then calculate, maybe they can ask the question, calculate the retardation energy or force that the car experiences and so on and so forth. Those are type of common examples that the African man, the Cameroonian person actually faces. And so, while how relevant, that's the question I want to ask, how relevant are all these in our life? And that is what the aspect I actually wanted to portray in my book, the relevance of all these scientific principles in our everyday life. And my motto, if you check in all my books, my 2 publications, I have a motto: love and practice. If you love something, you always want to be with that thing, you always want to prosper that thing, and you always want to practice that thing. So if you love something, it goes alongside with practice. And that's the only way you can succeed in physical and mathematical disciplines. I cannot solve a mathematical problem today and I skip like 3 days before I come to the problem. No, it actually deters me and takes me off the grid. So I actually have to be in touch. I solve math every day. That's why sometimes when I was in seminary, you study theology, philosophy, my classmates will say, oh, Michael, how do you understand these things? How do you, wow, the mathematical, I'm a tutor, online tutor, people get to me and so on and so forth. How do you understand these things? I say, no, it's practice. When you constantly practice discipline, you solve, you study, you make it part and parcel of you, your livelihood, and so on and so forth, you realize that everything is just swift.
You just made an argument for living in your purpose like I've never seen before.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, you actually just proved, in my mind, why stepping into faith and pursuing your purpose, your purpose it's impossible not to love your purpose.
Sure.
It can be felt like a curse though, until you surrender to it. Then it becomes something that is your lifeblood. For me, because I mean, you know a little bit about my past history, which is not very pretty, but what has kept me on the track that I'm on is my love for what I do. And our purpose is obviously getting to use our gifts and talents in that. But the other part of that formula is being in service to others, because our purpose and our gifts really aren't about us. They're about our fellow man, how we can serve and provide value. That's how you fall in love with it, because if it's not about your fellow man, there's so much failure in the journey to pursuing your purpose. There's so much failure. Like it's like I celebrate my failures now. You know, sometimes, you know, I've been mocked for some of my credentials and awards, but I don't really flex on those like I do my failure. I actually celebrate my failure more than I do the rewards. But unfortunately, people look at the rewards and certifications like, oh, that's how you know that person, you can work with them. But truth be told, I'd rather celebrate where I fail, because I got up off the mat every time and kept fighting, kept finding a better way, kept finding a new way, and whatever it took to be able to accomplish the goal. You have to be in love with that to do it. But it's hard to do that for yourself. If you're just doing it for yourself, I think you give up. I think you quit. I think you give back into drugs and alcohol or whatever it is for people. For me, it was all that and more. But when it became about other people, there was a reason not to get screwed up on drugs. There was a reason not to get wasted on alcohol. There was a reason not to, spar and get in a fight with people where I'd end up in jail again. There was a reason, because people were counting on me. And that was enough to keep me going, even at failure, even when I didn't feel good. I knew somebody was counting on me. I knew somebody needed me, and that was enough to, regardless of how I was feeling, that I'd get up and do it. It's the full spectrum of the formula, though. It's not one thing. It's not one or the other or two out of the four. It's all of it or nothing. But I think you just use physics to prove that like we would succeed with that. And it's by God's design.
Sure.
I think that's what I heard you saying. Or I could have just made that up.
No, you did. You actually did.
So I do want you to talk about, though, the hardship, because as I said, nothing's easy.
Yes.
Talk about how hard it was for you to achieve that level of education coming from Cameroon.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Joshua. Firstly, I'm a Nigerian, born and bred here. I grew up here. Yes, I was born and bred.
Shout out to my Nigerian friends.
Hi, Nigerians. Kudos. Okay. I was born and bred in Cameroon, precisely in Bamenda, and I've actually been synchronized in their culture. That's Mancon and so on and so forth. I've been to many places. Sometimes I could actually mitigate and speak their languages and so on and so forth. Okay. Primary school, I actually had the desire to become a priest. And so I went on the journey with my twin brother to the minor seminary in Kitun in Kumbo. And we schooled there, Form 1's opposite. I can remember back in the day, around Form 1, Form 2, I was so fascinated by science. And sometimes, Lord, I'll forfeit sports of which I love football, to stupor, or forfeit sports just to hinge by the science laboratory door, especially chemistry laboratory door, just to peep and see how titrations, precipitation titrations, acid base titrations are done, change of colors from, like, for instance, potassium permanganate is always purple in color. When you titrate it against an acid, let's say hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid and so forth, with an indicator like phenolphthalein and so on and so forth, you realize that there's a change of color. And so I was actually fascinated, that desire, like, how can I? And you realize that I would see myself getting some containers in school and taking water salts and cactus plants because they have this whitish substance oozing from it when you cut through. This is a type of childish kind of, but I didn't know that was something that would actually prosper my desire to become maybe a potential scientist or in the future. So after Form 5, I wrote the GCE ordinary level. I did so well there. I was really good with the sciences. My best subject was math and physics. And then I went on to high school. At that time, after Form 5, you realize that many students left because it's a minor seminary. If you want to become a priest, you continue high school, and then from there get into the major seminary. So I was like perplexed. Should I continue or not? I actually got in contact with my spiritual director, and he actually gave, okay, Michael, if you are facing a dilemma here, try to actually maybe just go on. And then if you realize it's not your thing, then you leave. Rather than leaving and going somewhere, and then maybe you realize it's your thing and you actually made a mistake and probably you're coming back. At that time, maybe age-wise, you will not be that, you understand? So I decided to follow the rudiments and of my spiritual director. So I went to the seminary, but however, it didn't frustrate my desire for the sciences. So I actually went on, studied, and so on and so forth. And during that time, when we come for holidays, actually, I went to schools that actually offer tutoring, maybe holiday classes, and some students who actually face problems during school time when it's their summer holidays, maybe they can have some tutoring classes. So I actually applied for some during my summer vacation. So I taught and so on and so forth. So that's that. So away from that, as a seminarian, you're not supposed to do anything aside the contemplation of the forms. That's God Himself, and doing all the other duties pastorally possible. But I actually felt, well, me helping the masses, especially in science, can actually do some pastoral formation on them. So I was very, very challenged on that. I faced a lot of persecutions from my fellow friends, jealousy, envy, which actually led to slandering of my person, yeah, and so on and so forth. A lot of things were said. So because due to that emotionally part of me, I actually felt that decadence, like psychologically, people being against me. When I started writing, I felt a lot of fatigue in writing. I felt a lot of pressure, juxtaposing my work in the seminary, studying for the Catholic priesthood, and also doing this. Like Sir Joshua realized that a lot of people, if you actually do a census, many persons do not actually understand physics. And it's actually a very difficult discipline. And for you to take that upon yourself, if you look at the language, it's very simple, not grandiloquent. It's very simple, down to earth, but at the back of it, the essence of it, it brings about understanding, knowledge that cannot be. Yeah. So that's it. So away from that, another difficulty I faced was to publicize it, or probably publish it, right? And maybe gain, probably, how can I put it, people getting to the knowledge about it. That's publicity, the media, as we were talking about on our work today. I face a lot of difficulty regarding the finance. So for my small little pocket allowance, I actually got an ISB number. That's the commercial tax code. I got it, and then I got a few prints. I think by virtue of the fact that you have honored me and I'm actually privileged, I'll get you 2 copies of my book as a souvenir. I'll get you. So I printed a little amount of the books and kept. And then, however, I tried to get to the students I had taught and maybe censure them about it, told them, and they got some, and it helped them. So that's just it. The main difficulty I faced was the slander, especially me being in the seminary and writing, following the program, because in the seminary, the program is a program. You're supposed to be everywhere. You're supposed to be at the same time or on time. And so on. There's just that rudiment and regulations you have to follow. So sometimes when I come back to my room, I retire, maybe electricity failure and so on and so forth. I cannot type. And when it's lights out is always 10:30. So you cannot project or go inside the night, into the night, like typing and trying to catch up. So you have to sleep and get up in the morning. So I really face a lot of difficulty trying to do that. Also, when I face a lot of difficulty with editing the work, because it's unlike any literary text or genre. You realize that physics, for instance, is made of formulae and diagrams. So if you edit something, maybe a diagram that is at the bottom of the page, if you edit something up and then maybe there's an introduction of another maybe sentence or line or paragraph, kind of, you realize that it alters all of the work, especially the diagrams. So you have to go through those pages, all the work, to see if those diagrams that were actually done were actually altered. So I face a lot of difficulty with that. And I actually appreciate the proofreading of Mr. Kawa Charles of Our Lady of Lords College in Mancon, who actually helped me to proofread my work. He's a genius in physics and further mathematics and so on and so forth. So he actually helped me with proofreading the work. So first and foremost, that was the first difficulty. Second difficulty was people saying a lot of things. Michael, you won't succeed. Michael, master, Mike. Well, I'll just come back to the house. I'll be discouraged, but it didn't. That was 3 years of my life actually dedicated on that. And then financial constraints actually hampered my publication as well. So with time, I think, I hope I would actually achieve and arrive at that, whereby everybody that faces a lot of difficulty in physics will actually be led open by such salvation of science. Yeah, actually understand. So those are my difficulties, my challenges I faced.
Other than God, media was my salvation because it provided the vehicle in the opportunity to create revenue streams on my own without having to go through gatekeepers. Because media is so accessible now. It's more difficult in Cameroon because of the internet issues. But in America, you can really you all have access to it here, but you're just not aware of a lot of the tools that you have. You can publish a book with no money. Sure, the publishing company takes a cut of the money. They should. You're using their platform to publish your book. But you can create merchandise and t-shirts and mugs and hats. You can do all that to sell for free. You don't need money for that. Podcasts are free. Video hosting platforms are free. Is it better to pay for your own video hosting services? Sure, absolutely. Is it better to pay for your own publishing, to buy the merchandise yourself and make it and distribute it. Yes, but if you don't have the money for it, it's no reason not to start. And like you were saying with your book, you tried on Amazon, but there was an obstacle there. Well, Amazon has free hosting, but there's other platforms that you can use too. One of the obstacles that book writers, authors run into is how to market their book with no money. What I did with my movie, with my first book, The Devil Inside Me, which is my testimony, is we created short films with each chapter. I didn't have money to make that. I used B-roll that I got from Venmo at the time. Not Venmo, Vimeo, used B-roll, and then I voiced over the parts. I acted out the parts all myself. Then we submitted the short films and the whole film put together to film festivals. It costs money to submit to film festivals. That part's true. But the movie was made with no money. We won 8 festivals and won more awards off that. That helped it become a bestseller in 4 countries. No marketing dollars really, except for the paying for the film festivals. But even putting the short films on YouTube served as a marketing tool to promote the book. So there's all of these free tools. And then what we were talking about on the walk, that the best thing to start with, we're in a storytelling economy now. This is the creator's economy. The easiest thing to launch that business with is a book, because that book can become short films and a movie. It can become a podcast. It can become a course. And then from there, like if you tell the story of your life, what you're showing there is the different things you love, the hardship, the things that you overcame, wisdom, lessons you've learned. You're also expressing things that you love about life, maybe even your gifts and your talents. So it's a whole picture, right? So after you've done that and you build your platform, the one that you host yourself, you're hosting the book, you're hosting the podcast, you're hosting the course, hosting the videos, whatever you end up doing. But from there, you can start niching out in each specific area. You said you like the arts. You said you like physics. Well, a branch or division of your platform, it could be dedicated to the arts. How many forms of art are there? Because if you can express yourself through painting, well, then you can actually not just document how you paint and tell the story behind the painting. You can create multiple revenue streams just in that. And then with your physics, how many different types of physics have you talked about today? How many different people did you mention that have been instrumental in your journey? You can create content centered around the people that influenced you. Like one of my books, Unmasking Humanity. Here's how I did it. It's as easy. I use this website called Quoted. It's a free media site. I posted for experts in all of these different fields. And there was like 20 something interviews that I did for this podcast series. I took those interviews and turned each chapter was dedicated to the person I interviewed. But what I did that I didn't do in the interviews, I took the nuggets, the values, like what people could learn and take away. And then I added my own wisdom to each chapter. Chapter 1, chapter 2, up to 25 chapters. Well, and that also served, so not only that turned into a book, it also turned into something that repurposed my podcast, which was re-promoting all of my other revenue streams. So once you build your platform, and this is one of the things that we've connected about, is you're interested in learning how to build a platform. And that's why I was so excited, because I've never worked with somebody as smart as you are. And like to be able to do something with physics and the arts mixed together on a sovereign media platform is exciting to me, because to me, that's just an endless revenue stream producing platform. But the hardest part is getting the platform built. But when you start with the book, it's easy to build around that book, and you just add to it. And then the only part of your job really becomes showing up on people's podcasts, and then creating something. Like maybe it's an article one day, maybe it's a piece of art the next, maybe it's your own podcast, maybe it's something spoken word, maybe it's creating a course, maybe it's writing another book. But that's what your job becomes. And then if you do that on a platform that you put your name on, like mine is theworldsmayor.com, or my name, Joshua T. Berglan, that means everywhere I go, I'm in business. Doesn't mean everyone's going to like me. Doesn't mean everybody even wants to hear what I have to say. Doesn't matter. I'm always in business. I'm not promoting Facebook. I'm not promoting X. I'm not promoting TikTok or YouTube or anything else. I'm promoting my website. I'm not spending a dime doing it. I'm utilizing all of the free platforms to monetize my work on my platform. I don't know why people go, oh, I'm on Apple TV and I'm on Roku and E360 TV and Spotify and Pandora and blah, blah, blah. You don't own any of it. You don't own any of it. And all you're doing is sending traffic to them when you should be sending traffic to your website. And sure, you can promote your website while you're promoting all those other people. But guess what? Do you think people hear all that? No. Just promote your website, your platform. That's where your business is. That's the business of the future, is your platform. So now this leads to this question. You've been watching my content. You felt like there was alignment. You said you wanted to learn from me. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. You said those words. But I want to hear what you were envisioning, because you said you wanted to learn from me. And so I'm not charging him. Be clear, because some of y'all think I'm here to take things. Kiss my white ass. I'm not here to take anything. I'm here to serve. I'm not here to take anything from you. Have I charged you any money? Did I tell you I'm not charging you anything?
Not at all.
Right. Wait, no, I didn't tell you I'm not charging you.
Yeah, I'm not charging you.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, I'm not charging you. Okay. So now I want to know, because typically people don't reach out and say, I want to work with you, unless if God gave them a vision and said, this is how we're going to work together. So what did you envision when you reached out and asked to work and to learn from me?
Firstly, it was actually strange, fascinating to see a white coming to the peripheries of Africa, primarily in Cameroon, and seeing his videos, Mr. Joshua T. Berglan, in barefoot, eating achu, accustomed to their traditions and all those, helping the youths, especially in Kotek barefoot, with everything they have and they're actually doing. It actually prompted me to maybe reach out, like, okay, this very intelligent, handsome, not young bird. He's young because, I've seen he's young, he's energetic. And
I'm that.
Yeah. Coming to this our country and actually doing all these nice works, corporal in nature and salvific and charitable. In essence, I actually felt so much happy to reach out, because you realize that right now in this our world, very few persons would actually go out from their comfort zones to actually come help people. Service, because Mr. Joshua is a lot of a servant. From what I've seen, he's a servant, and he's wreathed in love and charity for the people, for the masses, those who are physically depraved, those who do not have the license of maybe a future. He actually helps them, equips them with that. So coming back and drawing back from, let's say, my life and what I've actually undergone and the vision I have, maybe it's probably to serve people, to help people, and so on and so forth, I realized that both of us might actually, not even might, but categorically have the same vision and goals and purpose aligned. So, Mr. Joshua, I'm very happy that you actually created a platform as such and made it possible for me to actually see your good works. And with that, I solicit and I crave on your indulgence to work for you and to realize your vision. Your vision is my vision because I trust in you. You have gained my confidence. So I'll really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I get excited when people that are smarter than me want to learn this, because I'm self-taught. I'm not book smart at all. I'm self-taught. I learned through failing a lot. So when someone with his intellectual brain goes, I want to learn, I'm like, oh, good, because I can't do it alone. I don't know any other buddy that teaches what I teach. I'm grateful that God gave this to me, and I earned it, but he gave it to me. I just was obedient and went on the journey to learn it all. But when I meet someone like you that has such intellect and actually a real brain, I just know that if you learn it, you'll be a better teacher than I am. I mean, I'm all heart and emotion and passion, and and sometimes I get ahead of myself. But I've been learning to be a better teacher with it. It's taken work because I'm not naturally a good teacher, I don't think. So I get excited with people like you because I know Like my goal is to build 500 media hubs worldwide. That's what Princess and I are doing together. Princess of Bumby. That ultimately will help 500 million people worldwide. The maths out too, because media reaches a lot of people. It's not impossible. I mean, Lord willing, it helps more. But it's not me directly. I'm a vessel that pours into people like you who will then go teach others. Because the platform that you build is going to educate people. And they're going to go, wow, they're going to have physicists from all over the world going, how in the world did you do that? And then you don't even have to say, well, I learned from this white dude. You're like, no, let me show you and I'll teach you. And the way you teach it will be teaching it the way that you envision it. Because the basics are the basics. If you know every form of media and you know how to monetize off of that, it becomes easy. The way it becomes sovereign is hosting on your own platform, owning your content, owning your message, owning your likeness, owning your products, putting your label on things, not promoting polo, not promoting what you don't own. Promote what you own. Promote what you create. It's the creator's economy. And the creator of all created us to create. How cool is that? So there's this amazing opportunity here. So I'm inspired by people like you that want to take this and run. So I'm honored to teach you. I'm honored to work with you. I'm honored to get to work and start getting your platform built because you will have a lot to offer. A lot to offer. I mean, I may even learn physics after all.
Sure.
I mean, I like to learn. I've been learning all kinds of stuff since I got to Africa. I cannot learn Pidgin to save my life. I'm starting to understand it, speaking it.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! And the dialect is so different. So different. Like Spanish is easy to pick up on. French is almost easy to pick up on. The Pidgin, woo, that one's tough. That one's tough. But I want to learn because I'm going to be here for a while. So, all right, listen, there's a lot more that people are going to have to learn about you. And that's going to happen. I don't think this will be the last time we do a broadcast together at all. And you're going to be doing your own because I'm going to make you do that. We're going to get your books out there. We're going to get your platform built. And it's going to happen as fast as it happens. It doesn't mean that we do it all in one day, but I mean, we're going to start the process. And I'm excited to teach you, and I'm excited to learn more from you. I'm excited to teach you, but I'm actually kind of excited to learn from you because you're really smart. And I like to learn from smart people. But what I would like for you to do, and this is where I give you the last word and I leave, but really quick, you can check out my platform at joshuatberglan.com or theworldsmayor.com. There's a lot there. Take advantage of the search engine. Use it. It's fun. It's a custom search engine for my platform. Use it. There's all kinds of free resources there. My books are there. Those aren't free anymore. But if you're in Cameroon, I will give you the book for free. That is my commitment. I'll give you the new book for free. But I want to give you the last word where you can promote anything you want to promote. If you have nothing you want to promote right now, that's okay too. But I also want you to have the last word where you share everything on your heart. There's no time cap. I'm going to let you talk and I'm going to get out of the way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joshua T. Berglan, for giving me this single opportunity to present myself, my humble self. It's really a privilege to me and for me to actually present myself in your platform. And so much thank you, gratitude. It means a lot to me. Like I just feel like tearing out. However, I wish to appreciate the audience listening to me and Joshua Berglan on this day. And I wish to say that thank you. Thank you for giving your time and actually listening to us. I will not lie to you, Mr. Joshua is doing a very, very much humanitarian and so much corporal work in Cameroon. And I really appreciate that. He goes into the creeks and knocks. He actually belongs. He sees himself belonging to the community. And I can be a very good judge for that. And so whenever you actually have the support for his projects and his vision, please do not fail to not reach out to him. Reach out to him, probably some words of morals, of encouragement, and maybe some support in whatsoever form you could. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to present to you what we actually have in store with my person, my humble self, James Michael Okeke Chibuike, living in Bamenda, Cameroon, but a Nigerian by blood. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best.